Jadon Sancho is saying that he would be open to a return to Manchester United only if Ten Hag leaves the club. And I think if you're Man United, you should want him back. You see what he's doing with Dortmund? He's cooking. He's been one of their best players since going there, tearing up Champions League, having big performances versus Atletico Madrid. And I rate Sancho a lot. And if I'm him, there's no way in hell I'd want to go back to Manchester United because I think they've treated him unfairly. I think they set him up to fail at United. Sancho's a guy that needs to be in a team that's holding the ball, playing possession-based attacking football, because that's what his skill set suits. But since he went to Manchester United, they've been on like a counterattack kind of thing. And you can't ask a player like Sancho to just chase the ball for 90 minutes and then just hoof it over the top to Rashford or Garnacho. That's not what his skill set is. He's going to fail. That's why I think United make Garnacho look somewhat decent, because I think he's shit. But in a system where you're just going to rely on him for counterattacks, and because he's quick and direct, yeah, it works. But a player like Sancho, you cannot play that way. So, yes, he is technically a flop for them, but I don't believe it is all his fault. I think Sancho going to Manchester United was the worst decision for his career, because when you watched how he played at Dortmund, everybody thought Sancho would be like one of the world's best players at this point in time in his career. But that's just not been the case. It's not worked out for him so far. And I think with his value dropping down, plummeting to 25 M's, I think a lot of big clubs around Europe should be on alert. I think they should all be going in for him because he's not going to cost that much to sign. And to me, the only reason why I think Sancho would want to go back to Manchester United is because of his wages. He's on about $350K a week there. And I think no matter who signs him, they're definitely going to be offering him less wages. So if he only cares about the money, then sure, you can stay at Manchester United. But if you actually want to excel, if you want to grow as a player, win trophies, compete at the highest level, you should leave Man United, regardless of if Ten Hag is there or not. And even though I believe they will sack the manager, Ineos, I just think it's just done in terms of Sancho and his time at that club. And you have fans there who are rooting for him to fail. Like, people are watching Dortmund games hoping that Sancho puts up a stinker just so that they can go and tweet, oh, Ten Hag was right. Oh, Ten Hag over Sancho and all this other nonsense. Like, what kind of fan base is that, bro? I think Sancho is one of their most promising attacking players that they have. To me, he should be starting for Manchester United week in, week out. But in that system, it's just not going to work. Counterattacking is not the kind of style that he needs to be in. And I think, teams like Man City, Arsenal, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, they should be going in for him. For sure. This young, promising player, he's not too good. He's 24 years old, but you guys know what I mean. Like, he's not the finished article. He can get a lot better. And if you have a coach and a system that believes in him, I think he could contribute to any elite club in Europe. And I think Man United are going to regret selling him because, to me, he is a very good player. I don't understand why they play the way they do. Underneath Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they played a bit more attacking than what you see with Ten Hag, but that still wasn't progressive football. And then how Man United play right now is just awful. It is terrible to watch. Do you guys watch Manchester United games? It's boring as shit. It's like watching Bournemouth or watching a League One or League Two side. They can't string together 3 passes. They can't hold the ball because they're relying on bums. They rely on guys like Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho, Marcus Rashford, Anthony, Holgen, Scott McTominay. These are not good footballers. Literally, they are awful. And I think any United fan that backs Ten Hag and still wants him to remain, and that backs Bruno, backs all these other guys, you don't know ball. Garnacho is not a better winger than Sancho. And I know that him and Ten Hag, they fell out, and that's why he's on loan at Dortmund, because Ten Hag threw him underneath the bus in a game that he didn't even play in. came out and said, yeah, he doesn't train well. So you're telling me that you only select players based on who trains really well? Because if the players are training well, they're not doing it on the pitch because the performances have been shambolic. So that doesn't really make too much sense to me. Garnacho is awful. He can't beat his man one-on-one. He can't dribble. He can't link play. He doesn't create chances. He just head down, kick and run. He's shit. But in counterattacking football, he looks good because he's hitting teams on the break. Marcus Rashford is awful as well. What does he do? The same issues I have with Garnacho, I have with Rashford, even though I think Rashford is a bit better than him. Antony, Scott McTominay, Bruno Fernandes. Like, United, they big up all their shit players, and then they want to sell all their good ones. I think selling Jadon Sancho will be a mistake. It would be. And I think that's why they only loaned him. I think Ineos knows that. That's why they didn't just sell him in the summer, in January. They wanted to loan him to bring him back. They wanted to see how he would perform with Dortmund to know if they should keep him or sell him. And I think if they're being smart about it, they need to be keeping Sancho, not letting him leave, because there is a player there. And I believe that he can get back to the levels that we saw years before, because he does have that kind of talent. You just got to change up the way that you play football. And if you're a United fan, why do you even want to play counterattacking football? Like, why do you want to get battered on possession and then just hope that you catch the teams out in mistakes? That doesn't make any sense. Like, Man United are one of the biggest clubs in the world, and that's how you play? Negative goal difference or barely over a positive goal difference? Awful. It's awful, bro.